What I found out in life, as life goes on, life is about losing.
Hello and welcome. Mike Tyson is arguably one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. He's had a few problems in his life, as many people have, but he's always been an outstanding boxer, and his opinions and advice provide insight and inspiration to those striving for success. If you want to win at life, it takes sweat, determination, and hard work.
I won titles, I had everything in the world, but I still had that darkness in me.
Tyson became the youngest boxer to be crowned heavyweight champion of the world when he was just 20 years old. A hard-hitting boxer known as Iron Mike, Tyson won his first 19 fights by knockout and won his first 37 overall before getting stunned by little-known James Buster Douglas back in February of 1990. After a 3-year break from boxing because he was serving time in prison, Tyson came back to the ring. He suffered back-to-back losses to Evander Holyfield, but wound up finishing his boxing career with 50 wins, 44 by knockout, in 58 fights.
Be a big factor with this type of fight too. Evander can't keep wrestling with Mike all day.
Regardless of what you may think of him, Mike Tyson was one of the most successful people in history in his field, and there's much to learn from him and his life. When asked to share the secret to his success, Tyson turned to the wisdom of his late trainer and father figure, Cus D'Amato, and explained the Iron Mike rule. Do what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
I don't think I have it anymore because I got the ability to stay in shape, but I don't got the fighting guts, I don't think, anymore.
How do I express this? I've never expressed this. I was never able to understand the concept of greatness. I just never was able to understand that concept of greatness. And as time went on and I've gotten older, and I've met many journeys on people that I met on my journey and people who I've read about on my journey. I read that all greatness, the majority of greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness. The two don't coexist with one another. And I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life, well, I say I'm 47, but late in my life, that all great men are not good men. And then so I try to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. But what's the concept of good? Being a floor mat, I never understood the concept of good. The concept of good is pretty much then I must be a politician, because politicians are always striking for goodness and always trying to win votes from people. And only reason that we win votes because they believe that we're good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. And I really have no idea, no clue how do I juggle both of them and be in harmony. And then in all actuality, they don't exist. You have to pick a side.
From what I can remember from the day I was born, it was always hard times, welfare, not much food, no money, crime-infested neighborhoods, murders, pimps, prostitutes, drugs, and it was survival of the fittest. And I had an older brother who was 5 years older than me, so he didn't spend much time around the house. He was in the programs. He was very smart and intelligent. He was the special kid on the block that was always in school. And me and my sister got caught up in the street life. So I was bullied a lot as a kid. I used to have pigeons, and one particular time some bully grabbed one of my pigeons and ripped his head off, and that was the first time I ever got into a fight. And I kind of like won. I was young, like 9, but I kind of like won. I like fighting ever since because it gave me attention. People say, hey, you was that guy that beat that big kid up, you was that guy. And that was like, everybody knew me from that incident. And so after that, older kids would bring other kids from different neighborhoods around my neighborhood, and they would pay us to fight each other, and that's how I started fighting.
I was aware of everything I was doing. I was aware that I could become famous and the world could listen to me, that I could be somebody and my ego could just suck all this up. My cousin, we're all ego-driven. Listen, when I first met Cuz, I thought they were living good, but he's living his woman companion, and this is her house. All this stuff is hers. And he convinced us somewhere that we're gonna get a great champion. We gotta turn this into a training camp, because he's a fanatic fight. That's all he lived for, fighting. He said, let's change this Victorian House 14, let's change this into a training camp. She convinced him to do this shit and had people sponsor him, and then I came along. He was born in 2000, he was 1908, I'm born in 1966. So my life was changed in 1908 was my destiny. And from being with Cus is, what I was trying to explain, Cus is very delusional.
As a human being, success is important to anybody, as it is important to you in your field, that you have a good interview or
you've become acclaimed in your particular field, as I did in mine, and people in every field, everybody wants to be, I would say, noticed about their accomplishments and their hard works. And so, yeah, I think I enjoy that as well. I watched, it's an actor in America, and his name is Chaz Palminteri. And he's a great actor, and he did a movie called The Bronx Tale, but in this particular night, I watched him do the whole movie on stage, and he did it by himself. And the movie was extremely successful. I mean, really a blockbuster movie, but I believe he did better on stage by himself than he did in the movie. He totally captivated everyone there, and he, I don't know, 9,000 people, 8,000 people, he just captivated us, and you couldn't hear nothing but his voice.